Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate your time, and although it's getting close to Christmas time, but we appreciate your time at the end of the year to attend this webinar. Got a lot of content to share with you, and again, really appreciative of your time. Now, the title of the webinar is More Time to Design, and that was meant to address a lot of the designers that are typically in our audience, but we have a mix of sales people, marketing people, and operations and designers. So hopefully everybody is able to get what they're looking for out of this presentation. And for some of the comments that we make, some might apply to more people than others, but the main idea behind this webinar is to show that this platform allows a lot of people within an organization to share 3D design data to accomplish their goals. So thanks again. Let's get started, and we'll get into some of the introductions right now. So here's our agenda. We're going to be focusing on SOLIDWORKS Sell, which is a new platform by SOLIDWORKS to enable CPQ and product configurators and augmented reality. We'll get into some of the introductions of myself and the people that are supporting me in this presentation. Talk about some of the emerging trends and behaviors of shoppers these days. The reason why we're talking about more time to design for the designers in the audience. Share some customer success stories. Talk about a little bit about the Sell technology, and get into some demo content where we'll show you a couple of how to set up an application, review some of the sample and public websites that you can spend some time on at your leisure, and review some of the augmented reality capability within the application. We're also going to share the special pricing and promotion numbers for you, available if you're able to make a commitment within December. And we'll, at the end, for those who want to stick around, we'll show the software interface presentation. So a lot of content, and within 30 to 45 minutes, we should be able to skate through. So supporting me on this is Angela Smith from the SOLIDWORKS Corporation. Angela, do you want to give us a quick 30-second introduction?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We're excited to present SOLIDWORKS Sell to you and the different solutions under the umbrella. And best way is to just get started, get right into it.
All right, awesome. So I'm with Javelin Technologies. Been with the company for a little over 19 years, and focused on CPQ and automation, and enjoyed working with companies that are looking to use these types of platforms to improve their businesses. So in terms of upcoming trends, you know, if you go on to Google or some of these other media websites, what you'll hear a lot of times is 87% of shoppers, probably more, begin product searches online. So before they buy, they hit Google and they search, and that's both for people that are looking for running shoes or pump assemblies. It's no different. 100 million consumers will shop using augmented reality, whether that's online or in store. So that is an emerging trend. 46% of retailers are looking to deploy AR, VR solutions by 2020. And thanks to SOLIDWORKS Sell, we're helping a lot of people do that. Plus, from a customization standpoint, one size does not fit all. And we work with a lot of companies that work with customers that need custom solutions. So the more you can introduce customization of your product, the higher the level of loyalty you'll gain from your customers. And that it applies whether it's a B2B situation or business to consumer. The trend also clearly that we see and that we promote, because we're SOLIDWORKS people, 3D people, is the importance of visual content. And although it's B2C, business to consumer, we see the same thing in B2B as well. So everyone is looking for more engaging content. People want to go to websites and see information in 3D. They want to be able to spin things around so you can properly interrogate the product that they're about to buy. Graphics and visualization is used to help customers better understand what they're getting, what content is more effective versus what's not. And in terms of other priorities, creating visual content is higher on the list for many more customers these days. Finding more and better ways to repurpose content, which is ideally what we're promoting here, because we are enabling you, SOLIDWORKS Sell enables you to leverage existing 3D CAD content to help you with CPQ and sales environment, and content optimization. So getting the most out of the content that you have. So when we talk about more time to design, and Angela, fill in the blanks where I miss some of the details. And again, let me preface this by saying that we're talking to not only designers, but we're talking to sales and marketing folks. So some of the words might be different or might not apply, but it's still, when you take the holistic view of a company, this addresses a lot of different concerns for a lot of different people. So when we're talking about more time to design, we are looking at ways to reduce the cost of visualization. And a lot of companies are, making products, taking pictures, doing renderings, those sorts of things. When you look at this technology to help support sales and marketing, we're using 3D models, 3D images, rendered models, and using technologies like augmented reality to help people visualize what they're about, what they're trying to sell and what the customer is trying to buy. So rather than go through all the cost of making something, doing the photography and post-processing, we're able to reduce the cost of that process by leveraging our 3D models. We're also, same idea, reduce product and manufacturing costs with such things as photography and dealing with engineering bottlenecks. We allow you to start selling your product before it's actually made. And the idea is that because you're leveraging your 3D models, you're able to show, 30, 40 different colors or multiple fabrics or other finishes. So instead of having to make all that and take photography, you can leverage the fact that you've got the models and can adjust some settings and controls to make all the different views that your customer can buy easy and quick to make. Real quickly, also reducing time to market. Instead of making prototypes, you're able to show 3D prototypes and are able to make design decisions quicker. And with our technology, we'll show you in a minute some of the analytics and insights you can gain by people being on your website looking at your product. So skated through real fast. Angela, do you want to add anything to that?
No, that's perfect. We call it SOLIDWORKS Sell because this is to easily be able to share different images and interactive 3D images with your consumers so they can see it and believe it before they buy it. And that's what they're asking for. That's what they are wanting. But that puts a lot of pressure back on our engineering and design teams, both for their external customers to view, as well as now when you're making design reviews and presentations, more and more of your internal executive teams want to see it as it's going to look before it's done. So that kicks off all sorts of different rendering times for your internal teams, puts a lot of pressure back on the engineers and the CAD teams. So we really kind of want to release that bottleneck a little bit and have a tool that can be used by the engineering teams as well as your marketing teams, and be able to very quickly on demand kick off those renderings or have a customer view all those different configurations without having to pre-configure and pre-render. And this is what it gives you. So whether you're selling your ideas internally for design review or you want something interactive on your website for your customers, you can quickly set something up in less than an hour and can be viewed in both modes.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that, because when we're talking to designers, they're thinking, how is this going to help me? Well, instead of having to make 30,000 different renderings, you can introduce this tool, and you can give this tool to your sales and marketing folks and say, hey, go ahead. Here you can make them. You don't have to worry about anyone affecting your models. You give them this platform, and you'll see in a few moments how to set it up, and let them do all that work. So that's a great point. So here's an example of a success story. Do you want to talk through this, Angela?
Yeah, this is Desk Makers. You know, they wanted something. They had a huge kind of quote from an agency to do this for them, where they were going to have something custom built, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So they wanted something that they could use internally if needed, of something easy that their engineering and their marketing teams could master in a very quick amount of time. They didn't want them to have to invest a lot of time to get up to speed on the software. It's very easy to use. It's a very easy tool for a team outside of your engineers to use, right? So you can upload the 3D model, kick it over the digital cubicle wall, as it were, and have the marketing team take it and run with it and do what they need to build up different visual images for the website, or have an interactive live configurator ready to go out of the box. So this was a good example of what their team could get up to speed on, where we batch uploaded, you know, thousands of different options, right? They didn't have to pre-configure every option. They just have all the different back, sides, tops, drawers, and we set up different rules of how those can all come together. So you can be showing, you know, a million different options, but the customer is just clicking and picking through. And you can easily set that up for your internal teams to go, okay, this is the design that we want to move forward. There's a term kind of called walking a dog. So if you wanted to kind of show some of your dealers, hey, these are our proposed new designs, you can get feedback really quickly if they go, no, thumbs down, we don't like it. You can show all those different options really earlier on in the process and get internal buy-in before you even invest a dime in a prototype. You can show the full depth and breadth of the options. And then from there, you can easily just plug it into your website for your customers to view in the future as well.
That's awesome. And one of our customers is using this as a tool so that they can show their customers, their reps are taking this data, instead of a bunch of SOLIDWORKS models, they're sending this, creating websites or showing up on site with a phone or a tablet and showing all these different options in front of their customers. So yeah, it's quite an amazing tool set. So in terms of the solution itself, there's a couple of unique features about it that's worth talking about. It's a fully cloud-based configurator solution. So that not just accessing the software, but the software that you use to create these applications is cloud-based. So there's no software to install. Everything is on the cloud. It's sold as a software under the software as a service or SaaS model. So you're paying on an annual basis to use the software. You've got the capability to embed into any websites or iframes used or developed with the software can be embedded into existing websites. So you can customize them, make them look however you want, and then embed them into your own website. A lot of our customers in retail are enjoying the fact that you can scale to millions of users. So you don't have to worry about the idea of having, you know, these powerful servers or sizing. All that is taken care of within the software licensing itself. So if you go to a trade show and you've got thousands of people going to your booth, you can use this application and not have to worry about do I have enough licenses.
Something to note there, John, when you're talking about scaling to millions of users, you know, there's other solutions on the market where there's a heavy front end investment. You need to set up different servers, you need to invest in servers. We handle all that for you. But then our customers also found with those other solutions that the scaling within that solution could be difficult, because other solutions on the market require a one-to-one with a SolidWorks license or any other license, or, you know, they're having to pay for a certain amount of users that will be on their website configuring at once, as well as there can be limited bandwidth of the amount of people on their website using the configurator at once. With Sell, you don't have that problem. If something goes viral and you have 1 million people on your website wanting to use a configurator, you can do that. It scales very quickly. We set all that up and scale it up for you depending on the amount of traffic on your website. So you have no problems being able to scale to a larger audience.
Awesome. So we also talk about the application being built for marketing and web teams, but the reality is there is a substantial benefit to designers, right? You're leveraging your models, you're saving time, not having to do renderings, and it can be used as a front-end configurator, both to sell your product or even internally to sell your ideas. But so it does give benefits to multiple people within an organization. Low IT involvement. Most, if not all, the folks that we're talking to about SOLIDWORKS Sell really like the idea that the amount of effort in terms of buying servers, sizing up servers, that essentially goes away, and it's great from an implementation standpoint if there's a minimal amount of IT involvement to get up and running. Additional information, like we're leveraging 3D data to create endless configurations. So this is a benefit for a designer. If you size up the number of different product offerings and options and accessories and do the math, sometimes you can get into the hundreds of thousands. And to have a tool that buckles that all together and allows people to see what you're presenting and you're able to sell is pretty impressive. We support multiple CAD formats, and we can leverage not just SOLIDWORKS data, but other 3D formats. We do like to take advantage of realistic rendering and dynamic rendering so that you can get a real nice view of what you're presenting. So there's a lot of different things that the software can give you. There's a lot of different options here, a lot of different points, but they all amount to a lot of capabilities that the software and technology offers. So, Angela, do you want to skate through the different flavors of SOLIDWORKS Sell?
Yeah, so when you start with Customize, that's kind of the main building block, right? So we have a lot of customers that are just using Customize as an internal tool. Yamaha Guitar Groups uses it between their design group in Calabasas, California, and their design group in Japan. So they're using it to kind of go through the earlier design process. They're using a private browser link between those different teams to get quick feedback. They're sharing that private browser link with their different dealers to get feedback and proposed designs. And they're also sharing configurator private browser links with their sponsored musicians and artists that they're producing custom guitars for, instead of chasing them around, the world on tour to get that feedback. So they're using it internally just with Customize. That includes all the features, that includes the high quality rendering included, that also includes automatic augmented reality views. The differentiator between Customize, and if you go to the next slide, digital catalog, that's kind of the next step up. The only differentiator are the APIs. So you have everything within Customize. It's a good starting point. And then when you are ready to embed a configurator within your website, we provide the APIs for that. And again, it can embed into any website. We also have some that use that within a retail space, right? There's less real estate in retail, so they'll have the configurator on their website, and then they'll kind of connect into their retail as well. They'll have less physical representations of a product. They'll have a screen up in the retail so that somebody can click through and see the full depth and breadth of their product line from there, as well as within trade shows. So again, everything is included with Customize. A step up from that is digital catalog, and we provide the APIs to connect into any website. And then a step up from that is if you want to connect in and have a configurator fully viewed on the website, you have digital catalog. You can use that for the quoting process. So we have a lot of customers using digital catalog. They have their customer interact with the product. They can see the pricing changes, but maybe they don't do direct e-commerce, right? So digital catalog is even if you just want your customer to receive a quote, where they can fully configure something. They click a button, instead of saying buy, it says quote, and you'll on the back end have a full bill of materials. You can see what they've configured, and they can see the price, or you can hide the price and just have it as that internal information. A step up from that is e-commerce, when you want it to be embedded onto your website, but you also want it to be connected into a shopping cart. That is the e-commerce solution. So they're kind of all nested within each other. Everything is included with Customize, access into the software itself on the back end, and then digital catalog. We provide an API for that, and then we also provide an API for any e-commerce platform: Shopify, Magento, WooCommerce. We've worked with all of them. So there are new ones all the time, and our APIs are open to connect into anyone. We also have these different add-ons, right? So these are all included now, especially before year end, where we provide analytics in the background. You'll have a dashboard view of who is accessing into the configurator, even if it's a private browser link. So, if you send that link out to your team and everyone goes, oh yeah, it looks really good, you can go into the dashboard and see, I can see that nobody opened it or interacted with it. But you can get that feedback. So even if it's with your dealers, you can see who's accessing to the configurator, what products they're looking at, what are their preferences on different materials or different configurations. And especially when it's on your website, you can track, who is viewing your website, who is viewing the configurator, all within those analytics with the dashboard. We also have augmented reality, fully immersive. So augmented reality versus virtual reality, you don't need any goggles or anything like that. And it is going to create an AR view automatically of your 3D data fully rendered. So, somebody within the configurator on the website, if they click on it with their smartphone or with their tablet, they'll have an AR view of your product in their own environment. And then we also have high quality rendering as well on demand, meaning that you don't have to pre-render all these different options. Now, for about 10 years before I was part of Dassault, we had a startup that was rendering, and then we sold to Dassault. So I started on the rendering 3D side of things. I know all the pain points of having to pre-render everything and the time and the effort, right? So, not having to pre-render and pre-configure all those different options, but you can automatically have a fully 3D dynamically rendered product out of the box. And then on top of that, you can be kicking off fully photoreal renderings on demand for your consumer within that interactive sort of private browser view is really powerful. That saves so much time and money just with the photoreal rendering and the dynamic rendering options. And it's fully interactive, so you don't have to render out kind of a 360 view. You don't have to render out an animation. You don't have to render out kind of a VR view to have someone interact with it. It's fully interactive, zoom in and out, and then having that AR view is so powerful. We have some customers that are just purchasing customized just for the augmented reality access. So those are really powerful features, and those are all included before end of December.
Excellent. So let's get into showing the software in a couple of different applications. Actually, okay, so this is a publicly available website. We're going to show a couple examples from that, and wanted you to know that you can play with these websites as well. Angela, if you want to talk through this example.
Sure. So this is just a quick example of the add-in, right? So you have an add-in already. When you go into SolidWorks, if you go to the add-ins, you can see that there's a SolidWorks Sell publisher already there. When you check that box, it adds a little button there, just like it would with Visualize, which is another one of my babies, and or MBD or anything like that, right? So you can quickly, it opens up that web interface actually from within SolidWorks to start. So you can start working with Sell within SolidWorks, where it'll open up that view. You can click and pick, you can start your template, you can name it, you can click and pick on different parts and pieces that you want to publish and upload into Sell, or you could just take a drag and drop and take all the different materials and assemblies in directly. Once you upload it into Sell, you can start doing all the fun stuff. You can click on all the different material options that you would like to see on the different parts and pieces. It'll also recognize up to 300 different SolidWorks materials. So if you've already applied those, if you already have assemblies within SolidWorks, you can batch upload those assemblies. And from there, it will publish that full assembly already together. You can click and pick on the different material options you want the customer to choose from. And then again, immediately, you can have a private browser view that can look branded like it's on your website that you can share. Or let's say you're a product designer for another company, you can send that private browser view to look branded to that company that you're presenting a design for. Or you can have it be a generic view. And then as you can see here, this can be a view that you can set up once you embed onto your website. So you can quickly go from uploading from SolidWorks into Sell, where you set it up, have all the different options, and then with that API, you can plug it into your website, and you can do all of that in less than a day, right? So you can take it from SolidWorks into Sell in less than an hour and have a fully configurable view that you can send as a link. And then from there, whether you're sending a private browser view or you have this embedded onto your website, this is something that's so valuable. It's a live iframe. What that means is, let's say I send someone a private browser view of all the different options, maybe there's thousands of different options there. and maybe I'm getting the feedback from them live. If they want anything changed, I can go back into the software itself. I can make those changes and it will update automatically that browser link that I've sent. Or let's say I get it on my website and one of my suppliers is dropped, or I need to change a price, or I need to change a material out. I can change that on the back end. It's kind of the Wizard of Oz behind the screen. You can make those changes, you update that, and it will update whatever is viewed on your website automatically. So you don't have to bring in your IT team or anything like that. We had a jewelry customer that was updating their pricing almost every single day, depending on the price of gold, and they were able to do that very easily. So a lot of flexibility, a lot of options. You can quickly go from start to finish in less than a day, and we hope to help you accomplish that.
So that's a quick preview also under the hood. So let's look at a second application.
So you may have seen this example at our rollouts. This is OMAX. So it was kind of showcasing how you can take even like, let's say, industrial equipment, and how you can quickly show something. You know, you can take a piece of equipment like this and set something up in less than an hour. And you can also go that you can't do with product photography. I'm going inside the machine. It's fully interactive to view all the detail within the screen. I can have an automatic zoom in view. I can see all those different options very quickly that I can present to customers. I can have, you know, automatic renderings of that kick off. And then I can also see this AR view. So I'm a customer, I've clicked all the choices, and now I want to see it fully interactive as if it's in front of me before it's even been manufactured. And I can also see it in my warehouse or manufacturing space live, so I can get an understanding of scale immediately. And the AR view is created automatically. You don't have to do anything. That's just an option that you'll have within the configurator window, again, for your internal teams or for your customers to view. It's really powerful because even for design review, we have a customer loves the AR view because they can look at a proposed new design, and they could look at that proposed new design for next year. And in an AR view in a board meeting, they could pull up, let's say if it's a shoe or something like that, they could see an AR view of next year's design, and they can view it live next to last year's physical design on the boardroom table. So they have that. They send out the private browser link to their team, and they're able to compare and contrast, future sort of designs and compare it to last year. So it's really powerful for that AR view in and of itself.
So here's the website that we're referring to. So if you wanted to go to SOLIDWORKS Sell and click on the OMAX configurator, you can do the same things that were shown in that video. And by the way, we're going to send that video out to everybody who's on the webinar, so you can take a look at the impressive capabilities of the software, particularly the augmented reality. It's quite impressive. So this is the SOLIDWORKS website that I mentioned to you. It's publicly available, solidworks-sell.com. I'm going to quickly click through a couple of more examples. Here's one where we've got an iframe embedded into a website of a company that sells lawn chairs. If you go on websites like Amazon.com, you'll be able to zoom in and zoom out. You might be able to use a magnifying glass. But with this type of application, not only can you change the materials, the fabrics, and see what it looks like, you're able to spin it around and take a real nice look at it. I know that when I go to these websites, if I can't spin it around, it's a little frustrating. And if you're selling a piece of equipment or furniture that people really want to look at before they buy, it's really impressive to have that capability. And when you add the augmented reality, so you can see what this chair looks like in your on your deck or in your home, it just makes it that much more powerful. Here's another one that I really like to show. I mean, the graphics are unbelievable, right? So I've got 4 ways I can configure this chair. You can see that I'm within an e-commerce type environment, where you've got the price that adjusts, you've got a shopping cart, and you can buy from within the site. It's a demo site, but you've got some real nice capabilities. Nice for furniture, so you can choose different types of seat materials. The frame, you can adjust that, and you can see that the visual updates. and so does the cost. So you can see what the impact of some of your changes are right there on the fly. So really impressive. Like I said, it's not just something you can zoom in and zoom out. You can spin it around, take a real close look, and you can, if you wanted to, you can take a photo rendering of that particular image, and off you go. Next, I just want to show briefly another example of augmented reality that we displayed in our previous webinar. We developed this application that we're just going over and making changes, zooming in, so you know what the impact of that change was. You can do a quick design review. I like this color, I don't like that color, and everything's very instant, very rapid, very graphic, very visual, and it gives you the ability to make, as Angela said, hundreds of thousands of different configurations without a lot of effort. And on this particular example, you're going to see in a moment some final adjustments that are being made. And once we make a couple more, we're going to lock in that design and set it up so that what I show on my laptop is going to be mirrored, in this case, on a tablet. So this is what a tablet view will look like when you launch this website, this demo website. And in this scenario, once I've got it to the position where I'd like, I can click on the 3D button and create an AR model, augmented reality model of the chair. And I'm basically going to set it up and see what it looks like inside of my office. So within a couple of seconds, once the system understands where the floor is and where the walls are, you'll see that it looks like it's right in the meeting room. And I'm going to set it up to scale so you can see what it looks like at 100%. So imagine selling a piece of furniture or a piece of equipment, and your customer is able to see what that piece of equipment looks like in their environment. So very, very powerful. For certain items like furniture, it's very critical to have that capability. So, okay, let's get back to the slides. Oops. Was there anything you want to add, Angela?
Nope, I think you summarized it really well.
Okay, great. So we skated through them real fast, but like we said, we're going to share some of this content with you so that you can review those demo websites and take a look at the content on your own time. Obviously, we're available if you have any questions to add any further details. But so in terms of pricing, when we talk about SOLIDWORKS Sell on the customized level, so you'd be able to create internal websites, use it in a sales environment. We've got 4 options for you, depending on the size of your marketing team or the size of your requirement. The lowest level of implementation is $1,500 US, and gives you 1 license to be able to do basically what you saw with that application. Create the websites, create all the, have all the different configurations available, send those private links to your customers, and they can use the augmented reality. They can view the analytics to see who's pumping on their website. And so all that for $1,500 US. Spending half an hour on this webinar has already cost you $1,500. Very low price to be able to get into the game with this type of technology.
And we are including, it's not on this list, but before end of December, we are including augmented reality and the high quality render options within the starter before end of December as well.
Excellent. So if you've got a bigger team, like a larger marketing team, or you need a couple of licenses in design, a couple in sales, step up to the standard offering, which gives you 5 licenses. And as Angela mentioned, you get the augmented reality, you get to create all the websites, Same functionality, just a larger number of licenses. Similarly with the professional, if you've got up to 10 users, the cost is $12K US per year. And for larger enterprise situations, we can establish a price based on volume. So those are the three offerings to enable SOLIDWORKS customize in an organization. Now we're also offering a very special promo. I know you don't have a lot of time to make a decision, but the whole idea behind having people onto this webinar is to give people the ability to save a bunch of money if you're able to make a quick decision and take advantage of some of the technology. You want to kind of step through it, Angela, or do you want to?
Sure. Yeah, so with the starter for 1,500, if it purchased before end of year, you'll get one license, and it will also include the high quality rendering, the analytics, and the augmented reality. But for the price of customized standard, you could also get digital catalog or e-commerce as well. So for 6,000, you'll get 5 licenses. You'll get the high quality rendering, analytics, augmented reality, as well as we'll give you digital catalog and e-commerce access if purchased before end of December. So huge savings there. Customize is a great place to start, but you'll also have access to embed into your website and connect into a shopping cart if you purchase before end of December.
So that is a phenomenal deal for those of you that are looking to, are able to make that decision and looking to start selling your product online. It's an incredible deal for 6K US. You're able to build these websites and post them on your website and connect it to e-commerce. So that is a phenomenal deal. Even if you need to go to just the digital catalog level, even that is a great deal as well. So now time is limited, of course, but you know, we'll share this information even further with you as a follow-on to this presentation. So at this point, I'm going to send the control or presenter to Angela, and she's going to touch on the interface. Are you ready, Angela?
I am. I'm going to show my screen. Let me know when you guys can see it. I think you have to make me presenter.
You are now.
There we go. Okay. Well, let me know when you can see my screen.
Yep, see it now.
Okay. So for everyone, this is the meat of it. So very simple, minimal sort of interface. Again, it's browser based. So you never have to worry about, oh, what kind of hardware it takes, or I have a right graphics card. You know, if you can log in, if you can access into a website from a device, you can access into the software itself. You will always, you don't have to pay maintenance. You'll always be on the most up-to-date release. You don't have to download it. It downloads automatically and updates all the time. So it's very low effort on your part. You'll always be on the most up-to-date version. Down here at the forum here, we'll send you all the release notes. So when we send out a new update, again, because it's browser-based, we have a lot of freedom and we have an accelerated release schedule. So we don't do yearly releases. We've been doing about 1 to 2 releases per month. So we have a lot of early adopters that provided feedback saying, hey, I love this, but I would love to see ABC. And, you know, if we can have quick turnaround with new features, you know, within a few weeks or a few months, or definitely within the year. So that's been a really exciting sort of release schedule. And the product is growing very quickly. So there's a lot of features. It's very feature rich, but this is the interface itself. So very easy. You're going to log in as a named user. Here I am as a named user. I've logged in. I have my own password. It means that I can log in, and I'm usually logged in on my desktop and my laptop, as well as I have a login from my smartphone or my tablet. So as a named user, I can have it on several different devices that I'll be using, which gives me great freedom, right? So if I'm in the office working on something, I can go home and I can access in from my laptop at home, and I can continue working on a project. So this is the interface itself. Now you're not going to see any templates here because you don't have any set up, you know, within your new license. But here I am. I just pulled up our Javelin webinar template that I set up, and we're going to jump in. But this is the interface itself. You can hide this so it can look very clean and streamlined. Again, this is what your internal team will use. This isn't what your customers will see, right? So this is where you're setting things up. As a named user, the first thing that you would want to do is go under Tools here under Publisher. That's where you're going to download the SOLIDWORKS plugin. Again, that we showed you with the little Irby scooter earlier, where you're going to download that publisher. You're going to go back into SOLIDWORKS, into that drop-down add-on menu. You'll go to the bottom and you'll see that SOLIDWORKS Sell is already there. Just check that box and the button will appear within SOLIDWORKS. Really quick process going from SOLIDWORKS into Sell. And as John mentioned earlier, it is what we consider CAD agnostic or CAD neutral tool. So if you also have other CAD data beyond SOLIDWORKS that you need to access or utilize, you can bring those in without the plugin directly into Sell. If you have any partner data or data from another company that maybe you're doing a project with, you can take in that non-SOLIDWORKS data from them. But you'll see, since these are sister brother products within SOLIDWORKS under the umbrella, using SOLIDWORKS and the plugin, it's definitely an easier process because you can bring in, it brings in all this metadata from SOLIDWORKS and recognizes the different materials. You can bring in all these different assemblies. So it's definitely easier and it's a preferred process on my end, but definitely you can still have a really good workflow from non-SOLIDWORKS data as well. So again, this is a quick view of the different interface. You could see we have a real heavy material library available out of the box. You can very quickly create your own materials. Very easily, you can edit and create your own materials, even just from editing our existing materials in our library. Again, there are about 300 different materials from SOLIDWORKS native that we recognize. So if you've already applied materials in SOLIDWORKS, we'll recognize those when you upload it and publish it into Sell. And we also have about 30 different tutorials already embedded within the software itself. We also give you different CAD data where you can play around with the data and use that CAD data in the tutorials. So I think in most of the tutorials embedded, we're using the speaker data, so you can access that and follow along exactly with what we're doing for the same results. We'll also provide links that you can access those within YouTube, and quick little hot links where you can kind of go through each different session. They're just a few minutes each. So really quick Cliff Notes version to get up to speed on the software. We also are including 1 to 2 sessions of live training with your team as well, if purchased before end of December. So we can quickly get you guys up to speed in a short amount of time. Quick view of the analytics dashboard where you can go in and see sample sets of where the users are accessing in, what different configurators, what different options they're looking at. And let's go in and go into the Javelin webinar really quickly, and let's look at this data set. So this is a template that I went in of this chair from SOLIDWORKS. I named the template, I went in and said publish, and this is what it brought in. So let's open this little interface of this chair, what it looks like on the back end. So again, I brought in this assembly from SOLIDWORKS into Sell. It brought in the full assembly. I just did kind of a squared out catch gather of everything. But if I wanted to, I could have gone through and just clicked and picked on different parts that I wanted and others that I didn't. So I can do data cleanup either on the SOLIDWORKS side, or I can do it on the Sell side, or I can just bring in everything. It doesn't mean everything has to be configured and chosen. I can decide what I want the customers to choose, right? So I can limit or unlimit the choices my customers will be clicking and picking on depending on the interaction and what I'm trying to sell here. So from here, you can see the full assembly. I can set up different material links and part links. I could go in and you can see from here, I set up a different rule just by dragging and dropping over and saying, hey, this is my base group. I have 2 different kind of bases. I have the 5-wheel base and I have the 4-wheel base. I've just set up a different rule here saying, hey, by dragging and dropping this over, saying that when the 4-wheel base appears, I only want 4 wheels to appear, right? So when I click the 5-wheel base, I only want those 5 wheels to appear, and it matches up with where they're supposed to be automatically. So that if a customer clicks the 5-wheel base, or excuse me, the 4-wheel base, I won't have an extra 5th wheel just hanging out in the environment, right? So I just dragged and dropped and set up that rule really quickly. I can set up different material links as well, so that, okay, if anyone clicks on this to be stainless, maybe I want everything to be stainless steel or a brushed metal, right? Or if somebody clicks on this post is black, maybe I want this lever to automatically be black as well. So that's really easy. Once I bring in the assembly, all sorts of different rules that I can set up. You can go in here and you can see, as with this assembly that was already set up, I could go in and within the space, you can see I have 5 different, I have the 5-wheel base and the 4-wheel base. But within this group, I could have several different designs of what the base could be that my customers are choosing from. You'll see from this chair option right now, and in just seconds, I uploaded from SOLIDWORKS into Sell, and now I'm able to view 20,000 different options from the different materials, from the different colors, from the different CAD shape models and options automatically. So I don't have to pre-configure and pre-render 20,000 different views, right? So let's also kind of view this within this private browser view that I set up. So this could also be the view that I have on my website, but I've just set this up as a quick private browser view in less than an hour. I've taken a design of a chair. I could have many other options and designs of the main chair, right? So right now I'm only showing with arms and without, but I could show all sorts of different base chair shapes. It doesn't have to just be this main one with arms and without, but I did this one really quickly. So I could go back in and upload different assemblies, different options, and I could batch upload different options into the same template. But from here, I have this fully interactive. I can send this private browser view to a customer or to one of my colleagues and say, hey, what do you think of this new design? Or even better, I can send it to our manufacturer saying, here, this is exactly what I want it to look like. Make sure that our first prototype and our first run comes out correctly, because I can send them this interactive view of what it's supposed to look like. I don't have to pre-render a 360. I have a 360 on demand. I can have a QR code appear for them to capture it and view in AR, or be able to share that QR code for the private browser link. I could quickly automatically have it gather the measurement data so I could see exactly what those measurements are going to be, and it will calculate it so I can understand the scale. Also along the lines of scale, I could click on this augmented reality view if I was looking at this from a tablet or a smartphone. And again, I could view that chair as John showed earlier in my own environment. The AR view is really powerful. So it's automatically created. You don't need to do any work to make that happen, but it will also access in the lighting from your environment. So as John mentioned earlier, we had a customer, it was a elevator interior design company, right? So they wanted to use the configurator for a trade show to have the customers come in and view an AR view of an interior of an elevator and click and pick on different options and see those options very quickly. What you'll notice within the AR, is I noticed when I was setting it up, is that it was gathering, because it was a really reflective aluminum backing or metal backing within the elevator. And I could see my reflection in it. So even though I was viewing it in AR, it was so reflective, I could see my reflection in it as I was viewing it. I could see it capturing the lighting of my ceiling light. I could see it reflecting my rug where I placed it in my home when I was testing out the AR view for them. So when you're placing it in your environment, it's immersive. It looks like it's in your environment live, and you don't need special goggles or anything. That's just, you're looking through your smartphone or tablet. So really powerful, even just to have this fully interactive view that you can share with someone. You don't have to worry about, oh, it's too big of a file. I'll send you a WeTransfer, or an FTP site. You can quickly just send a private browser link. Everyone can open up a web page. You can send it to different executives internally or different customers. You don't have to worry about, oh, they can't open that because they don't have the software. It's just a private browser link. It's like they're opening up a private, secure little website. And that's all included in Customize. And then, of course, we can provide APIs for a website, and you can add in a shopping cart. So let's say this was even just within the quoting process. Instead of buy, I could make all these different configurations and say quote, and I could go back into my dashboard and see a sample order and a bill of materials of that specific configuration.
So that's an important point, because we've got a lot of customers that make big equipment, like physically big equipment, and the ability to pick and choose what you show can give you great performance. So instead of opening up 3D models that take 45 seconds or a minute and a half to open up, you can pick and choose what you want to show, and now you've got something that's lightning quick when you're presenting it. So it makes a difference. It's as I said, it's a great sales tool internally as well as externally, and gives you performance that you're going to need to make a good impression.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of it. That kind of gives a quick view of the software itself. Again, it's great for differing teams, right? So the reason we want to automatically give you 5 licenses basically for the price of 1 is so that it kind of releases that bottleneck. You can have license access for your engineering team, for your marketing and your sales team. And so if you have a separate group that might need to access in from their Macs and start setting up different visual assets, or they're going to prepare it for the website, you can upload it, they can take it and run with it. They don't need to have a SolidWorks license to use it. And they can access into that starting template and do everything that they need to do to then have a configurator ready to share with a team or to embed to the website. So you have full options there.
And it won't mess up any of your CAD data. So you don't have to worry about making zillions of different configurations and renderings and all that kind of stuff. They're basically using your data, but not really touching it in any way.
Exactly.
Okay, so here's our, was there anything else you want to share, Angela?
Nope, I think that's perfect.
Okay, great. So here's our contact details. As I said, there's great deals available if you're able to make a quick decision. We are both able to engage with you over the next couple of weeks. If you need us to do any further presentation work or return on investment, or have a chat with multiple people in your organization that are either currently looking at this or should be looking at this. So we're available to help you go through the process of reviewing the technology, some of the benefits and advantages, and as we said, if there's a way you could take advantage of some of the promos, we're ready and available to support you to get there. So, so it's about 2:53. We appreciate all your time this afternoon. We are going to follow up with sending links to this presentation again to you, so you can share this with other folks on your team. We're going to put it onto YouTube. We'll send you the video of the OMAX equipment and the way they leverage the technology in their business. And if there's any further information that you need from us, you can get a hold of us through either this contact information or through your SolidWorks rep. Yeah, there you go. So unless there's any final questions, thanks again. Angela, thank you for supporting us. And we look forward to connecting with some of these folks in the near future.
Awesome. Thanks so much, John. And thank you so much, everyone, for attending today. We're excited to help you get started in a very quick amount of time. And also, we're looking for more customers that would like to be featured on our main SolidWorks page as well. So we do heavy promotion of customers are using Sell. We'd like to do a customer case study if you are open to that. So what we do is we provide hot links directly to customers' websites where they have it embedded. So we drive traffic to your website and to your products as well.
That's amazing. So if you sell your product to the SolidWorks designers and you want them to use your equipment or know about your company, here's a great way to put your data in front of thousands and thousands, if not millions of users around the world. Okay, that's all I had. So thank you very much for your time. Thanks again, Angela, and hopefully we'll be talking to you all soon. Have a good day.